And welcome everybody to another edition of the Brody File. We are in Des Moines, Iowa, on the road. Hey, if it's Iowa, you know what that means. That's right, political season, presidential campaign. It is off and running. It is time for the Mad Scramble. All right, it's the Mad Scramble, not just with the political candidates out here in Iowa, but the Brody File crew at the machine shed. We were having a mad scramble the other night, and boy, was that good food. It is an Iowa tradition over at the machine shed. But hey, here's another Iowa tradition. Presidential candidates basically going in front of big, huge evangelical audiences saying, vote for me, vote for me. It was all part of the Iowa Faith and Freedom event here in Des Moines. This Iowa mega church provided a mega dose of scripture and campaign promises as presidential candidates took the pulpit looking to sway an evangelical congregation. Whether it was Rand Paul defending the pro-life position,
I'm tired of us retreating on this issue, and I'm going to push back.
Or Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal pushing hard on religious liberty.
The United States of America did not create religious liberty. Religious liberty created the United States of America, and it is the reason we're here today.
Evangelicals play a critical role in the state of Iowa. 4 years ago, Rick Santorum won this state, and 4 years before that, it was Mike Huckabee. Both gentlemen appear ready to go again, but this time the field is going to be much wider and deeper. There could be more than 10 candidates, and so far, Christian voters seem torn.
Ted Cruz is the real deal. He is a solid Christian, 100% knows God.
I think Governor Mike Huckabee stood out, and he has for some time. So he would definitely be my first choice, without question.
Ted Cruz tells CBN News that winning this crowd means everything.
If you can win a good majority of evangelicals, then what happens to your candidacy?
I think evangelicals, Christians, people of faith are going to play the decisive role in the Republican primary. And I think we're going to play the decisive role in the general election in 2016.
And Cruz is just one of many competing here.
Please help me welcome Senator Marco Rubio.
As Marco Rubio rises in the polls, he's filling up local Iowa House parties, reassuring voters that he sees no constitutional right to gay marriage, something the Supreme Court takes up this week.
Where are you on this whole idea of a constitutional right that many people think?
It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
There is no federal constitutional right to same-sex marriage.
That's what they're going to argue.
And there isn't such a right. You would have to really have a ridiculous and absurd reading of the U.S. Constitution to reach the conclusion that people have a right to marry someone of the same sex. There is no such constitutional right.
Fighting to protect traditional marriage will be just one of many issues these candidates address head-on here in Iowa and beyond. One of many events soon to come here in Iowa. Speaking about events, a lot of Iowa house parties all around this state, and we were at one. Marco Rubio, the main attraction. And boy, I tell you what, it was standing room only. It was like an ice cream social in there, 150 people or so crowded around Marco Rubio as he was basically telling people, please vote for me, vote for me. And you know, we actually had a chance to speak to Marco Rubio in a one-on-one sit-down where he waxes poetic about the issues of the day.
Look, there's going to be so many people in this field. What's going to make you stand out from all of them? What do you think?
Well, it'll be very competitive, and I think that's good for the Republican Party and good for America. I'm just going to continue to talk about how I honestly believe this country's on the verge of another American century. We're at a hinge moment in our history. We have to decide, do we want to make it another American century, or are we prepared to decline? If we want it to be, it can be the most prosperous era in our history. But we're going to have to become globally competitive economically. We're going to have to give our people the skills they need. We're going to have to reinvigorate family life in America so that our people are stronger. And America's going to have to become stronger in the world. We're going to have to remember the lessons of history, that without a strong America, the world devolves into chaos and evil prospers. But if we do those four things, we're going to have another American century.
I don't want to pit you against Rand Paul necessarily, but he has certain foreign policy views, especially as it relates to the military. You seem to be on a different side of the spectrum. Explain that.
Well, there's always been a strain that's in American politics that's been uncomfortable with U.S. foreign engagement. And there's some legitimacy to a point. You don't want to be engaged in every conflict on the planet. Sure. We're not the world's policeman. But I question what would happen in the alternative. If America doesn't lead, for example, what happens? Well, what happens is chaos. America is the only country capable of convening the nations of the Pacific to stand up to China's illegitimate territorial ambitions in the South China Sea, a part of the world where 70% of global commerce goes through. America is the only nation capable of rallying NATO to stand up to Putin's evil ambitions for relitigating the end of the Cold War. America is the only country that's capable of rallying our Sunni Arab allies in the Middle East to stand up to both Iran's hegemonic ambitions and to the radical jihadists that are in their own Sunni movement. And America is the only country in the world that can help stand next to Israel and protect their right to exist as a Jewish state. And there are other challenges, the erosion of democracy in Latin America, for example. Only America can convene the freedom and peace-loving people of the world to take collective action against collective threats. And in the absence of it, it doesn't happen, and chaos ensues.
Marco Rubio here on the Brody File. All right, when we roll on from Des Moines, we're going to check in with Jenny in the B block, back in Washington. Actually, she went down to Guatemala, talking immigration. Back in a moment. And welcome back, everybody, to the Brody File here in beautiful Des Moines, Iowa. I mean, it is a beautiful day at Gray's Lake, and they should call it Sunny Lake because it's just nice and sunny today. Speaking about a sunny disposition, Lindsey Graham, boy, I tell you what, we had a chance to catch up with him here in Iowa. It looks like he is going to run for president. Now, look, he has come out in favor of comprehensive immigration reform. He has taken a lot of heat for it among the constitutional conservative crowd, but here's how he explains why it's important that comprehensive immigration reform get done.
We've gone from 44% of the Hispanic vote to 27%. It's not because we're socially conservative and they reject us, it's because of the rhetoric around immigration. There are a lot of Hispanic people who believe the Republican Party doesn't like them because of a broken immigration system. They're in churches. Churches are full all over this country with our Hispanic brothers and sisters. They just feel like the Republican Party doesn't like them because of a broken immigration system and the debate. I want to tell every Hispanic person in this country that the Republican Party I believe in and I belong to, you're welcome to be part of. Let's fix illegal immigration. Let's get it right. Let's get people right with the law. Criminals are never welcome. But good people, let's give them a second chance, make sure they learn our language, they pay taxes, they get in the back of the line, and let's create a relationship with people of faith and minority communities to win the White House. That's the only way we're going to win the White House.
All right, well, speaking of immigration, we want to check back with Jenny in the B block. Time now for immigration, Guatemala, safe houses. What's going on down there, Jenny? Your turn.
For many Central Americans, their journey to the United States begins on a path like this. Thousands leave their homes hoping to escape a future of poverty, violence, or both. That's why Alejandro's mother left Honduras. She hired a guide known as a coyote to take her and her two small children through Guatemala and Mexico to the U.S. border.
He told me we were going to make a stop here in Guatemala, but he just left me here. He said he was going to run an errand downtown, and he never came back, and he didn't leave me any money.
It was the first time she'd ever been outside of Honduras.
I never imagined this would happen. I only had a bag with clothes for myself and my children and our documents. That's all.
As coyotes prey on people, charging thousands of dollars for the promise of leading them to America, many end up in Heidi's situation. If they're fortunate, they may end up near a place like this. Outside, it looks foreboding, but inside, it's almost like a mirage. Too good to be true.
Some of them have already been robbed, abandoned. They are in need. It is the most basic human need to offer a safe place.
Tejeda is a Catholic priest who runs this immigration house in Guatemala City. Each night, as many as 30 people stay here. They're fed and given a place to sleep. This is a typical room at the immigration house. It has 10 beds. Immigrants are allowed to stay here for about 2 weeks. And at this house, the need is so great, they're hoping to add a third level. All are welcome here, whether on their way to illegally enter the U.S. or the deported, making their way back home. The staff helped Albina Suarez get in touch with her sister after the 23-year-old was caught crossing the border and deported.
The journey here was hard. There was a stretch of desert where we had no water, nothing to eat. From there we got caught and they took us to immigration.
This immigration house is just one in a network across Central America. It's become a necessity, with thousands of people attempting to cross into the U.S. illegally each year. Here are the activities for kids, the food, and a place to wash clothes are nice. But immigrants also get to see the resident psychologist.
My main focus is crisis intervention. How is the person doing? Is this person frustrated? Any traumas because of deportation or because something happened along the journey?
Reyes asked the people why they're going to the U.S. Many want to reunite with family there or escape their life here. In Guatemala alone, more than half the population lives in poverty. In addition, nearly half of the nation's children under the age of 5 are chronically malnourished. And with no social safety net and few jobs, many people are willing to risk starving, getting raped, or killed if it means a new start in the U.S.
We tell them and remind them of the risks. Luckily, they are alive, but will they be as fortunate this time? We talk about those things, the advantages and disadvantages of making another attempt.
But she doesn't try to convince them to change their minds. She doesn't urge them to abandon their dream.
The focus here is humanitarian aid for our brothers and sisters who are in dire need and to whom nobody else is offering a safe place to be fed, to be heard, and to regain their strength.
For those deported after living in the shadows of the U.S. for years, they often feel like foreigners in their homelands and have to reestablish ties. At the immigration house, they can get legal advice, help getting their papers in order, even get the medicine they need. Tejeda says he prays the leaders of Central America, Mexico, and the United States will seek humane answers to this exodus while moving past any barriers in their hearts and minds. For the Brody File, I'm Jennifer Wishon.
Jenny in the B block. All right, when we come back, Amber C. Strong joins us for, that's right, you know it, Poplitical. Tunes, candidates, music, more next. And welcome back, everybody, to the Brody File. All right, I'll be honest with you, it is the best time of the show. Right now, right? Forget Marco Rubio and all the others. No, look. It's Poplitical time, and that means Amber C. Strong. And here she is, Amber C. Strong. Oh my gosh, you're in Iowa.
I know, I'm everywhere. It's like, where's Waldo?
Yeah, it's true. Hey, wait a minute, is this your first time in Iowa?
This is my first time in Iowa, and I absolutely love it. I'm a Hoosier girl, so I'm a Heartland girl.
So you're not too far.
I'm not too far.
What's going on this week in Poplitical? We got some, it's not show tunes, but you got tunes. What's going on here?
Not show tunes, but we are talking music and politics. As you know, you can tell a lot about a person based on their musical preference. So yeah, no, not that. Did you like my throwback Thursday video there?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Loved Arsenio. Not the music that they play, but the music that they listen to. So recently we caught up with Marco Rubio, and David asked him, what's on your playlist, to which he responded.
But I use my iPad to listen to music sometimes. You know, look, I
like this rap music.
I do. Look, I especially from the 90s, it's not wholesome, and that's why my kids don't listen to it, and that's why I can never play it at any of our events. But I respect artistic talent, even though I disagree perhaps with the content of some of the things they say. There's a young man in Miami, his real name is Armando Perez, but they know him as Pitbull. He's very talented, and certainly been very successful Cuban-American. But we also, by the way, have become fans of contemporary Christian music. I mean, we listened to Sanctus Real, Mercy Me. You know, Mac Powell from Third Day has become a friend of ours, and that we met at one of the retreats.
So, Marco Rubio, he loves hip hop.
Who knew?
Well, the whole world's about to find out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Marco Rubio is a fan of hip hop, but hip hop apparently is not a fan of Jeb Bush.
What a shock.
At least not rapper-actor Ludacris. Recently, Jeb Bush caught up with Ludacris at an event at the Georgia State House, and he tweeted this picture saying, "Never thought Ludacris would be my opening act. His foundation does great work." Ludacris was later asked, which Bush is your favorite? To which the rapper-actor replied, "The one outside." Ouch, so that kind of hurt.
Right.
Okay, so let's play a game and see if it's true. What were the last two things on your playlist?
Ooh, All right. Well, Michael Bublé.
Okay.
What? Don't judge me.
No judgment here.
All right, you might judge me here. I think it was like a Broadway sound. A Broadway show tune. Sorry.
There's no judgment there. I actually like both of those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say the last two are probably Nicole Simone, a gospel artist.
Oh, I love Nicole Simone.
Love her. And probably Phil Collins or Kenny G.
Oh,
I'm so cool.
Kenny G. All right, well, thanks for coming, Amber. No, please go ahead.
I am just so cool. It's so sad. But it goes to show it doesn't really tell you anything about the person because...
Well, or maybe it does,
or
actually.
maybe it does. So we're going to pop the question back to you, and you can tweet us your answers at The Brody File and at Amber C. Strong. Does the music on your playlist reflect your character, 1? And 2, does the music on your favorite candidates playlist reflect how you feel about them? Just tweet us your answers.
Very nice. Amber
right.
C. Strong, a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you so much.
All right, and you like the Machine Shed?
I love the Machine Shed, like a lot.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
She's very... No.
No.
There's something going on here.
There is something going on here.
A beautiful baby
yes,
on the way.
A little girl named Savannah. We're so blessed and so thankful for the newest addition to the Brody File family.
I was going to say, another addition to the... now we have 6 viewers, so we're really excited about that. All right, Amber, thanks.
No worries.
When we come back, Rick Perry will be here. We talked to him. Oops, that's the wrong video. Rick Perry on the Brody File. And welcome back, everybody, to Des Moines, Iowa. A lot of presidential candidates here, including Rick Perry. We had a chance to visit with him. You remember him from 4 years ago when he ran for president. Didn't turn out too well. But it looks like he's going to be back, and the question now, at least the one we posed to him, what are you going to do about ISIS? Fighting ISIS, what do you do? What's the number? President Perry in the future, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
You go put together a coalition with our Arab allies with the sole intent of defeating ISIS. You know, for 1,300 years, the Sunnis and the Shias have been fighting each other. We need to stay out of that fight. But what we do need to do is go find our friends, our allies in the Middle East, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's Turkey, whether it's Israel. Create that coalition and put together the effort to go eliminate, to extinguish this ISIS, this radical Islam movement that is tearing apart the entirety of the Middle East.
That's Rick Perry here on the Brody File. Also on the Brody File, Lindsey Graham one-on-one. You heard him earlier on immigration, but he had a lot to say, especially when it comes to what he calls fighting the thugs from radical Islam. Boy, I tell you what, Lindsey Graham basically pulling no punches whatsoever. Have a look.
What are you hearing from people on the ground here in Iowa as it relates to national security? Do you think this is going to be a national security type election?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, the Christian community here in Iowa is big. Pray for our friends in Israel. They're surrounded by radical Islamic terrorists, unlike any time in the history of the state of Israel. Our president's been less than a friend to Israel. The Ayatollah is, quite frankly, a religious Nazi. We're fighting religious Nazis. Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, all these Al groups. You know, they're fanatical religious terrorists who want to purify their religion, destroy ours, and the Iranians can't be trusted. They've been killing Americans, state sponsor of terrorism, larger than any nation on the planet, helping Hezbollah and Hamas attack Israel. They destabilize Yemen. I could go on and on and on. What I hear in Iowa is that people are afraid that we're losing our standing in the world, and they want to keep the war over there so it doesn't come here, and they think our way of life's at risk.
Tell me a little bit about, look, you want to set the record straight on Rand Paul. I mean, you have nothing, I know you don't have any animosity against him.
None, zero, zip.
Right, but you're concerned about something along the lines of foreign policy. If he could potentially be the nominee here, that's a concern of yours.
I want to win.
Yes.
I want to make sure we win. I want the White House back. I want to put a commander-in-chief in the White House who has a worldview differently than that of Barack Obama. I want to lead from the front, not from behind. I want our friends in Israel to understand they have a real friend in the next commander-in-chief. I think Hillary Clinton represents failed foreign policy of Barack Obama. Where was she at during Benghazi? This was her job to take care of that consulate. It was a death trap. Why was it open? What did she do during and after the attack? You know, where are all the emails? But at the end of the day, President Obama has convinced me, and I hope everybody else, America is the glue that holds the world together. And when we have the Obama view that we're not an exceptional nation, when our friends can't rely upon us and our enemies are not afraid, you get the world as it is today. Radical Islam is running wild because of poor policy choices of Barack Obama. I like Senator Paul. He's a valuable member of our party. We've worked together to solve and save Social Security and Medicare from bankruptcy. But on foreign policy, he is much closer to Ron Paul than he is Ronald Reagan. He's more in the libertarian camp. He supported taking all of our troops out in Iraq when our military said you need some. He objected to a no-fly zone to go after Assad when he was on the ropes. And, in his budget, he cut all aid for Israel, said they were a wealthy nation. At the end of the day, Israel is a small nation surrounded by terrorists unlike any time in the world, and God blesses those who bless Israel. So I believe that Senator Paul is probably the worst person to take on Obama foreign policy because he's really, in many ways, behind Obama. One example, we had a resolution I did 3 years ago, basically rejected the idea of allowing the Iranians to get a nuclear weapon and contain them. It would be the policy of the United States not to allow them to get a nuclear weapon, the Ayatollahs, and try to contain them because you can't. They'll share that weapon with terrorists. Sunni Arabs will want a weapon of their own. You can't let them get a nuke and try to contain them. 90 senators agreed with me, and the only senator who voted against my resolution was Senator Paul. I respect him, but that's not the guy you want sitting across from the Ayatollah.
Lindsey Graham on the Brody File. We are back in a moment from Des Moines, Iowa. And welcome back, everybody, to Des Moines, Iowa. What a beautiful state. It really is a beautiful state. But Dennis, Amber C. Strong, Laura, Google Chrome, as we like to call her, all of us out here in Iowa, and here are a few sights and sounds. The sights and sounds of Des Moines, Iowa. Boy, we will be back in this state quite a bit, so we'll have a lot more sights and sounds. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you in the stuffy old studio next week. God bless. Have a great week.